I say, why? What's happening? What's happening, everybody? Look here, Papa G coming at you. All right, we got another serious one on our hands today. Y'all know the conversation we having. Y'all understand what's happening. The conversation is, whose baby is it? You understand? And today, we're talking about enemies of black men getting first preference at their babies. You understand? Let's just get right into it. You know, at first, I was thinking I know the majority of black men are like me. All right? We want our sons, okay? We can compromise on the fact that the lady gets the daughter because we understand that we really can't teach her how to be a lady. But for the fathers out there who are already on the same sheet of music with me and understand that we are supposed to be in possession of our sons, let me let you know some of the people who are going to stand in our way. Because in my previous show, I only mentioned that child support and the state, you know, being the attorney general, was going to bring the powers to be that bear against us and try and prevent us from stepping up and try to get first dibs on our children when it comes to the separation of the mother and the father. But what I have more come to understand and just having conversations with people that I really looked over was the stupid motherfuckers who are raised simply by their mama, and they done been out here and then made two babies over here, a baby by this one, a baby by that one, and they grew up seeing the woman being in charge. So, you know, to them, what I'm saying is wrong, all right? Because they feel like it's the woman's child. Those motherfuckers are going to be a serious problem to deal with because they trying to act like we don't like women. They trying to act like we got something against women or something like that. That's where that peanut gallery going to come from, okay? With men who are benefiting from this situation because they didn't want no children no way, okay? So it ain't no biggie to them that this woman here gone on with the kid. Now he could just move on to his next relationship, and when he come, it's just him. You understand? The only ones that's benefiting from this, all right, is the correctional facility, okay? The rich people keeping low-wage employees, Hollywood, because they continue to be able to promote the certain stigmatism that they want, and that prevents us from being able to be in roles where fantasy and adventure and all this type of thing is involved because, you know, as a people, we are typecast as ghetto mamas and thug criminal niggas. You understand? And when people start to depict us in roles, other than that, you see how the mainstream society balks out against it. It even makes the news. You understand? So, wow. It's so much I'm going to talk on today because this is a subject that I didn't realize. You know, you got guys who they want to be able to move about freely. Do you realize if a man broke up with a lady and they had 3 children together, 3 boys, and the 3 boys had to go with the daddy, okay, how much better off society would be? Think about that. All right? Because the father wouldn't be running around here talking about something, I need help with these children. Oh, you got to pay me something. Oh, you got to get... Men, that's not our MO. You know, we'll be a single father with 3 sons and turn out 3 strong men. And go 3 for 3. And the one that's fucking up, he fucking up because he blowing his money on drink. He blowing his money on partying and good time with women, but he ain't fucking up where he in and out of the correctional facility because he grew up dealing with men. He used to dealing with men. So it's not foreign to him. You understand? Now, don't ever think that child support does not know the results of these women raising these children by themselves, independent of the father, and they know that they should have been trying to compromise and offer more time, offer more venues or whatever, but it's too late now. It's too late now because, listen, share this video, okay? This is a reason for us to start coming together. I want to get a petition together where we get a chance to redress child support. We get a chance to redress this custody battle, okay? And say, no, if a father wants to be involved in his son life, daughter life, okay, and is trying to do what he can do, then we're not going to interfere in that. And they're going to stay independent of that. You're not going, it's not the state job to guarantee a certain amount of income to every child that's born through the father. That's absurd and ridiculous. You understand? Okay? It don't make no sense. And it's got to stop. It's a way to break the black household, break middle class household. Like I said earlier, I don't live in other cultures, so I don't understand exactly how it's affecting their culture, because from what I see, they still on top, and we are the ones that's really struggling from it. Now, men who grow up and they take care of themselves, you know what I'm saying? Men who grew up used to taking care of themselves, we don't come up with no excuse. We don't depend on government aid. We not out here breaking the law. When you see a man raise a boy, you're going to see a quality person that's, coming up in this world. Now, this next subject I'm going to talk about, I'm hoping that it's an eye-opener. All right, look. I'm so glad to be on the YouTube. I'm so glad to be making these videos because I've been feeling this in my heart, this obsession, for a very long time. And I've been knowing that this is a desecration on the black culture. Child support is up there with food stamps. It's a scourge on the black culture, on the black community. All right? So when something has been broken for a very long time, okay, and it's been broken so long that now this is how you used to dealing with it. It has become normal to you that this is the way you have to make it work. It no longer you go to it and the way it worked when it was brand new, it don't work that way no more. Okay? So if you go and get a new one, you're going to be like, I like my old one better. It's going to take you a minute to get used to the new one again, where you don't have to go and do all that extra stuff because you've been so burdened so long. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about before I really get off into what I'm talking about. I was used to being a father so long and being responsible and carrying myself a certain way because I knew I had to be the image for my sons and I couldn't have no holes in my game. I knew I wasn't perfect, but at the same token, I knew that I didn't have to be perfect, but I did have to be a man on the things that I was standing on, that I was talking about. You understand? So, I had been on the straight and narrow so long until when I finally realized that Devontae done walked across that stage and Gil, you fancy foot and free. You don't have any more responsibilities. All you have to do now is continue to be a good advisor, continue to grow in business with your sons, whatever. It took a minute for me that when I got around them, it wasn't a teaching session. You know what I'm saying? We finally get to the point to where When I'm around them now, I can just relax and have fun. Have a drink, you know, chill, laugh, talk. Don't have to worry about nothing. Ain't got to give nobody no advice, because that's what I have been conditioned for so long in being a father. And it was when I was standing around some of my friends who had been finished parenting too, and they was like, Gil, will you stop apologizing? And it made me realize, Gil, you free. Now, back to what I'm talking about. Roll with me. So, if the family structure has been broken, or they started breaking the family structure in the 70s and consistently perfected it until we end up with what we have today. And you have, I know I was born 1971. And when I was born, the majority of kids didn't have no father. Okay, I'm 51 years old. So if we just take it from 1971, okay, where I grew up at the St. Bernard Housing Project, before the state took me from my mama and gave me to my daddy, nobody around there really had no daddy. And the dudes that had daddies, they didn't hang out in the project with us. They lived in the project, but they was inside. All right? Those guys eventually moved their families up out of the project. Okay? But now, when you in a situation where people have taken their time to break something, so the correct way to have it would be the father, the mother, taking care of the children, whether they struggling together or not. But when you got the structure with this culture, where you have the father and the mother in the home, you're turning out Martin Luther King Juniors. Without the father in the home, you more than likely won't be turning out no juniors. You understand? You turning out W.E.B. Du Bois. You're turning out men who can threaten and change the system. You're turning out a race of people who are proud. You know what I'm saying? A race of people with backbone, with integrity. When you got the father in the home, you're turning out daughters who aren't so quick and willing to let you get between their legs and cause teenage pregnancy because they don't want to disappoint their fathers. And they put value on themselves. All right? The system knows this. Child support knows this. Okay? That's why they work so hard at getting the father out. And then if the father tries to get them to help him, they basically put him in a big old bureaucracy. Like, you know, they probably got like a 1-800 number for you to call. You know what I'm saying? So like you and 6 million other clowns on the line waiting, and all y'all are some concerned parents, but they intentionally treating you like you just a dick with nuts that shoot cum, and all you want to do is have babies. And they put you in a situation where you don't know how to behave like a man, because the only thing you ever had was examples of women being in charge, women doing everything, and you surviving all women's services. You see what I'm saying? Your whole life. So now you got these men who I was talking about earlier, who that's all they know. You understand? But look at here. Those men at 15, 16 years old was doing things that a boy with a father would not be able to do. You understand? You talk to men and you ask men if they told a 15 or 16-year-old son to do something, would that boy do it or not do it? And you talk to men and ask men, say, do you think if you had control of your son, if you was in custody of your son would be like out of control where you can't tell him nothing? Men will tell you, hell no, I'll knock far from his ass. You understand me? A man will tell a 17-year-old, say, you ain't going nowhere. You in this motherfucking house. And that's what the fuck that is. He ain't about to try to fight. He ain't about to try to do none of that bullshit that they be trying to promote on TV and that society wants you to believe and all that. If that man been raising and feeding and clothing that boy since that boy was knee-high to a grasshopper and been teaching that boy and got that boy prepared for life, We ain't no broken people. We ain't no motherfucking demons. We ain't like that. Them damn children obey their father. You understand? Don't let them people try to promote to you that no even, you know what I'm saying? Like it's because they have done a damn good job to eliminate us out the home. That's why it's out of control. All right? So now you got this structure that they done spent a long period of time building. All right? So you got a woman with a vajayjay who ain't never had testicles and a penis. So she don't even understand the nature of the beast that she is raising. Check this out. You a woman, you got a son by a guy that you met on a job when you was 22 years old. Just throwing something out there. You knew him for 2 years on the job, and then y'all had a son together. Y'all 23, 24 years old. So for 2 years of the 23, 24 years of that person's life, you knew him. Now you done took the child and you acting like everything about this child is just you. Okay? So then when the person who you really don't know, because all you knew him was 2 years of the 20-something years of their life, the person who you really don't know start to show up in this child that you raising or trying to raise, you don't have a clue how to deal with it. But now, he already been there. He already been there. He know exactly what he looking at. But because the state done help you make sure he ain't nowhere around, you don't have a clue what to do with this, how to deal with this. Okay? We have to recognize what child support is doing. Okay? The government has their hand in the results of every separation when it comes to children, every divorce that happens in America, and they're using it as a revenue generator. And we have to understand that our children don't have a cost. Who the hell gave child support, the Attorney General, the right to decide how much it takes to take care of our child? And then instruct young men that once they have paid this amount of money, they owe no more obligation to their child. They don't have to go hug the baby. They don't have to go kiss the baby. They don't have to get the baby and spend time with the baby. They don't have to do nothing. They already paid. If the child call up to daddy and say, hey, daddy, can you buy me them new J's? The court then instructed him to let the child know, hey, I gave your mama the child support money. You understand me? Why you ain't got them new J's? Well, mama used that money to pay light, water, gas, and groceries up in here. Well, I gave what they say I'm supposed to give, but he ain't never had no father, and they know this. So now you got an aggravated kid who sitting here like, my daddy ain't shit. And he's telling the truth. But if you try to overplay your part and you don't know what your part really is, so you operating out of fear because you ain't had no daddy, so you don't know that you ain't supposed to be apart from this child. So if they telling you, you done bust your nut, you done had your fun, now pay for it, motherfucker, and run. That's what you gonna do. That's what you gonna do. Especially if you one of them daddies who every time you trying to go see your kid, you know, you getting locked up or she not opening the door or any of this kind of thing. You know, they know all this been going on. They understand the image that is painted out here in America, and all they out to do is make sure that men are not in a situation to have anything to offer their children. And as a result of that, young black boys don't see any value in fatherhood, and that's why we're failing so bad at it. And then they turn around and make fun of us in the movies, on the music, and everything. We even make fun of us. You know how many times I've heard a black male say, a father ain't shit? And I have to look at him and say, hey, you know you're going to be a black father, right? And they pause. And they be like, yeah. And they don't even realize that they have like disdain for the position that they're about to hold in life. And that's why they have no problem with if them and the woman separate. They don't even put up a fight. They don't even see the child as theirs. Okay? We got to come together. The medical community is backing us up. Okay? All learning communities are backing us up, saying that we should be in possession of the children. All we have to do is unite. Let me tell you something. You see them bitch motherfuckers that's out there trying to say, oh, you ain't gonna do that. You ain't gonna be asking women children. You see them kind of motherfuckers right there? Them the worst motherfuckers, because they so henpecked, you understand, until they're willing to try and hurt us because we want to be able to raise our children. Think about how stupid that is, though, and how stupid they are. All right? They so far not even in touch with the word, because if you just in touch with the word, you know that the father is the head of the household. When they say the father is the head of the household, they wasn't talking about no doggone brick and mortar structure. They wasn't talking about no place where your address is, where you pay bills like water and gas. That's not the household they talking about. You understand? Because if you had a woman and y'all was living in a tent out in the woods, and they had no electricity, no running water and all that there, you would still be the head of that household. Okay? These people is doing this because they want us to stay subjugated. Now, this ain't for every father. Okay? Because a lot of men don't want to be fathers. It's a lot of men out here who done went out here and made babies, and all they really interested in is keeping their shine going, keeping that they want to be the head rooster in the yard all the time. And for the women that want to get down with the head rooster all the time, that want to get down with the thing that's popping, with the next thing that's smoking, that's fine for them. I'm not trying to be all for everybody. Okay? I'm trying to cause that motherfucking dividing line where we got on this side the men who want to be fathers and want our children, and on this side you got motherfuckers who want to just be seed planters, don't really give a fuck. Okay, they gonna, if this bitch stop pleasing them, they gonna move on and make some more. Okay, but she get to keep the kids. They don't want the kids. You see a motherfucker like that, them the motherfuckers you make pay child support. Them the motherfuckers that he making $1,500 a week, you hit his ass up for $600 a week. Because he just said, my job is more important than my child. Because if your job requires that you spend so much time in the name of making money that you don't have what it takes to be able to put what you have inside you into your seed so that your seed can grow, then you have to recognize, I ain't gonna die in these however many years I got to raise this boy or this girl. You know, if you the lady or if you the man, you understand? And dedicate that time and energy, okay? And then if you wasn't able to buy a house, all you was able to do was get your credit straight during that time period, and, you know, y'all, you know, kept renting, and, you know, you had a meager living because you was focused on getting your children off to college or getting your children off to trade school, you understand? And so you accomplished that. Now you can rest your head easy on the pillow, so now you can focus on you. But when you decide to become a parent, the child comes first. And when parents decide to become a parent, when they separate, the man don't get alleviated of all of his responsibilities and everything get to go to the woman, and he ain't got no more children. That's bullshit. You understand? Now, let me tell you something. When something broken, and it's been broken a long time, you understand? Like, people get used to that shit. They got ready to tear down, knock down that St. Bernard housing project. Let me tell you something. They had people out there trying to stop them from knocking that doggone project down. Now, ain't nobody in the St. Bernard housing project lived in luxury, If you did, it's because you was constantly breaking the law. You was preying on other people. You understand? Ain't nobody in the St. Bernard housing project went without gunfire going on, without all types of stuff, open prostitution, open drug dealing, you know what I'm saying? Robbing. I mean, somebody would get robbed, and then right after they got robbed and the scene moved on, where the robber ran off, the person who got robbed gone down the street, everybody would just come stand right back there like ain't nothing happened and just keep moving on. All right? That shit was so broken. Okay? You would have straight up shootouts, and soon as the shootout was over, 30, 45 seconds after it was all clear, people just coming on out like it ain't nothing. St. Bernard housing project, one day I'm walking down the street and a guy caught a blowout. Boom! And when he did that, everybody, first floor, second floor, third floor, and all the people on the street laid down in the project real quick, you dig? And then somebody said, oh, he just had a blowout. And the whole project stood up. And everybody just walked like it wasn't nothing. I was ones on the ground, on the street, who laid down on the sidewalk, you understand? And I remember looking at that because I was just getting ready to go to the military. And I'm like, every one of these motherfuckers, including me, is shell-shocked. Now, you ain't supposed to be living in a community where a large sound make everybody jump and duck. If you living under tyranny if you living like that. But these motherfuckers was trying to stop them from breaking the project. Breaking down the project. So if you had somebody trying to keep that type of misery from ending, what do you think these motherfuckers who out here drinking alcohol all the time and working a job, don't give a fuck, still staying by their mama, all right, in and out of jail and you know, bouncing from this broad to that broad and trying to live the fake rap scene. Don't you know these motherfuckers are against us? Don't you know they don't want us to have some kind of responsibility as fatherhood? Huh? This motherfucker running around pretending like he a man in the car, bumping all that motherfucking sound and everything. He really ain't got no job. You know, he hustling, doing whatever. But the little bitches, they checking him out. They all in love with him and shit like that because they don't even know what a man is because ain't no man in their home. All right? And none of the men in the community are trying to be an example of one. And the ones that are, they have been taught that he a punk, he a bitch, he a hoe, he's something negative. But he ain't what that is. So they're not even paying attention to him. You understand? They don't learn to pay attention to him till 3, 4 kids down the line. Okay? So anyway, you got this motherfucker. Now, he running around here trying to play hard, trying to play tough. Right? If he go out here and he make a baby with Shaquisha, they 18, 19 years old, there ain't no fucking good reason why you giving her that motherfucking baby. They got canned milk, they got food, they got Pampers, they got everything. How come you're not helping this young man become a young man by accepting his responsibility and giving him custody of his son? We can start that. Okay? And make that be what that is from here on. But you know what? They're afraid of that. You know why they scared of that? Because they fucking know that if you start giving black men these children, all right, they're going to empty out the jailhouse. Graduation going to be too fucking big. The dropout list going to go down. You ain't going to have all these young black males applying for food stamps. You ain't going to have these men 20 years old, 19, 21 years old with food stamp cards. You got black men raising sons. No. No. You ain't going to have dudes that's running around trying to fake like they Iron Chest Charlie, nobody falling. You ain't going to have that. Men don't play with boys. You know, look. If men get a chance to raise their children, if black men get a chance to start raising their male children, America is going to be a better place. Let me say that again. If we can come together, and ladies who know you've made a mistake, ladies who raising your son and feel this way, you know, this ain't no divisiveness. This is time for us all to come together. All right? And say, hey, no, He got 2 sons by me. When we separate, these 2 boys going with him. A father should have his sons. Let's sign this petition. Let's get this going. Please like, share, subscribe. Tell people about me. All right? Let's get this going because our community can no longer continue to operate this way. You understand? We have to allow the men to get a chance to raise their sons. We've been letting the women do it since the 70s. What the fuck you scared of? Give us a shot.